Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to go through the Onelaser XRF series laser machine. Now, this was very kindly sent to me and I am so grateful because I am beyond stoked to the fact that I had a company send me a machine. So I am just so excited to be here and sharing this with you guys. Now, a very quick disclaimer that I am a beginner when it comes to all things lasering and hobbying. I am just a hobbyist at home, and there are definitely a lot of others out there who are more experienced than I am. So if you want really in-depth details and specs about the machine, please make sure you check them out. But if you are just like me, a beginner, entry level into lasering, then this is definitely the right place for you. The machine was very well packaged when it came to my house, and I'm in Australia, so of course I had to have the machine manufactured and changed to be an Australian voltage and outlet, and that is probably the nicest thing I've ever had anybody do for me as far as a company, because it's very thoughtful that they went through the process of changing the plug for me for here in Australia. Inside the machine, it is well packed with foam. You have a goodie bag with all of the tools you're going to need for the machine, your vent fan, your ducting, and your cord. Now, the only aspect of this machine that you technically have to set up is at the back here, and that is for the ducting and the fan itself. So at the back is 4 screws, so you just use the Allen key that is provided and unscrew them, and then go ahead and put that vent, plug it in, put them back in, and then attach your ducting to the back. Now, there is a clamp that I did not show, but you can see here the clamp is on there with the vent, and I went ahead and tightened it up. There is an information sticker about the machine on the back there to the right-hand side, but I couldn't get in there because I have mine pretty close to the wall. Now, the machine itself is so sleek and so well thought out for design, and the aesthetic of it is so pretty. Unfortunately, my room does not match it, but it is stunning. At the back of the machine, you have your outlet plug, your power switch, your fuse, your Ethernet cord, your camera, and your PC cord. So that is where you'll go ahead and plug the machine into the power and, of course, into the actual PC. And if you are using a Mac, you are going to need the Ethernet cord. On the right-hand side of the machine is a vent, and behind that vent is all the electrical cords. So those little vents there keep the electrical wiring all cool, obviously letting air in, and the emergency stop button. On the top of the machine, this here is another vent, and underneath that is all of your RF tubing. I did not open that back up because there was no need for me to, but that is where that is located. Now, in comparison to another machine that I have had in the past, this lid absolutely stands out. It has these 2 struts on each side of the lid that helps to lift very softly and close softly again, as opposed to it just being freely and slamming down on the machine, which will eventually cause wear and tear on your machine. So these struts were a really nice touch to the machine. Inside is an overhead camera with a little cap lens on top to keep it protected. And let me tell you, that has seriously changed my laser game, like massively. Inside the machine, you have all of your mirrors, and this is where the laser beam comes through to the laser head. So I'm just pointing that out here as to where it goes. And the access bar moves nice and freely left to right and forwards and back. Now, the way that this machine was engineered is absolutely incredible because everything is so neatly packed away. Behind there, that vent, that is where the dust extractor, fume extractor, and exhaust fan goes through. So it's not just an open hole, and there was your rotary attachment plug on the inside there for a 4-pin rotary. All the cords are very neatly secured and packed away, and the laser head itself is a very unique design that I personally haven't seen, where it's magnetic. So you can just pop it off very freely and easily so that you can access the actual laser head itself. Inside the laser head, you've obviously got your adjustments here and, of course, where your lens is. Now, this here is a magnetic lens head, and this is so bloody smart because it is the easiest way to be able to remove your lens for cleaning and for replacement, and it honestly is just so handy to have compared to having to go ahead and unscrew the whole laser head and replace it that way. Inside the machine, you've got an LED light bar, and that there is very bright once the machine is all powered up. And it has a honeycomb bed that is 600 millimeters by 300 millimeters, and it is completely removable, and you can lift it up for easy cleaning purposes. Down the bottom is a removable tray that you can slide in and out, and of course, remove when you have the riser base on. It has got 2 display screens, one on the front and one on the top, and these are your controls and displays for your parameters. And once the machine is finally plugged in and turned on, you can see how sleek the design is with this really neat LED neon strip along the front. I thought that was pretty cool. So I know I'm very easily impressed, and this really impressed me. It's just very well thought out for design and aesthetic. On the top screen, you've got all of your controls for the actual laser head bar itself. And then, of course, autofocus, you've got some settings and the files in there as well. On the front, you've got your parameters, which has got your temperatures and the air quality inside of the machine that you can see at all times when the machine is fired up and stabilized. Now, again, the design of this is so sleek, so I just couldn't wait to jump in and give it a crack. I set it up to my computer. Originally, I had it to a Mac, but I found that my computer was a little bit slow because it's a very old Mac computer. So I decided to chuck it onto a Windows computer, but both ways in Lightburn was very easy to set up. I won't go into the settings of me putting the machine into Lightburn because I have done that before in the past on another machine, and it honestly is no difference. It's very simple. It's just finding my laser and off you go. There are other YouTubers out there that have gone through the process already so far with Lightburn and setting it up, so definitely check them out if you want to see how it is actually done. Now, this button here that I'm pressing, that is the focus, the autofocus on the machine, and once it's pressed, you can see the machine goes ahead and finds the actual focus distance for the laser head and the material itself. The arrows will move the actual head itself. So if you have got different pieces of material in your bed you're cutting at a time, you can go ahead and move it around and autofocus from there. Here, I've just gone ahead and done some quick engravings. The settings, I didn't have them perfect, but they were just some test ones because I'm actually setting the camera up to the machine and calibrating it. So the computer to the machine, calibrating it with these little pictures. That's just how that Lightburn likes to do it. And then you capture the image and you calibrate it from there. Now, this is the standout feature for me as well because I've never had a camera in the past before that is overhead, and being able to utilize that is going to save me so much material and wastage on my material because I can overlay my work to the actual camera where it can see into the machine. Now, I did run a test file from Lightburn directly to my machine just in the settings. And as you can see here, the settings that I have personally picked for this test run, this is the engraved test run, are absolutely awful. So I am still learning. Again, my disclaimer at the beginning, I am a beginner. So these are going to be things that I'm going to be trying and testing, and again, I'm going in blind. So I am a massive entrepreneur. I'm not very tech savvy. So for me personally, I have to figure out all of the settings on this machine on my own for what works for me and my materials, because my materials aren't going to be the same as everybody's. So this is why it looks really charred and burnt up, because I just let the Lightburn pick its settings and give it a crack, because I'm all about trying things and testing them out for yourself to find the perfect settings. Yes, I will do a completely separate video where I will go in and show you my perfect settings that I have found for my materials and the things that I make. But again, that will be completely different to everybody else and the things that they're trying to achieve, the materials they're cutting, and how they're trying to do things. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that I'm a beginner and I am learning all of this on my own. Once I had a little bit of a play around with the machine and sort of kind of got an idea of what settings I might want to achieve with the Onelaser XRF, I decided to go ahead and give a crack at making a little Christmas ornament for my kids. Now, the bed is magnetic, so you can use magnets to hold the material down to keep it stable. Even though the air assist is amazing, it actually doesn't move the material on the bed a lot compared to, my previous machine where my material would move and slide around. So that's a great thing, but I still like to personally use magnets to hold the material down just in case something does slip and slide and I don't get a nice even engrave or cut. Now, for this here, I think I went ahead at about 400 or 500 millimeters a second for the speed, and I was using about maybe 15-20% power. Anyway, it was quite a low setting to me personally. Speed was really, really high, but the power output was quite low and it cut through so good. Well, the engrave was really low. The actual power here, again, was only about 20 or 30%, and it really, really cut through so precisely. Now, I did get a little bit of the, I guess you call it like residue from the timber being cut that blew onto the material. So it does look like it's a little bit charred. It's not. I can literally go ahead and get some vinegar and clean that right up. Or I can alternatively put some masking tape down on my material and then go ahead and cut and engrave, and I won't get that charring onto the material itself. Now, I did a whole bunch of practice runs of these little gingerbread men because, again, I am just trying any in every setting possible to figure out what I want exactly for what material. Once I cut my timber, I jumped into some acrylic. Now this is some 2mm thick white acrylic. And again, one thing I want to note is this is where I stuffed up a lot with my practice runs is You do actually have to autofocus the head of the machine every single time you go to cut. I don't know if there is a way around that as of yet. I do have to ask that question. But every time I would, select one bit of my material to cut and then do a separate bit, I would have to refocus the laser head itself. So when I forgot to do that, I would just go ahead and try and cut it, and the laser head would be a mile away from the material and it didn't work. So it's just me remembering to have to autofocus each time I go to cut or engrave, or I'm not entirely sure yet if there is a way around it where it automatically does that for you. Now, when it came to cutting the acrylic, this was so easy. I normally struggle when it comes to acrylic on a CO2 laser machine, but with the RF tube in the Onelaser machine, this was so incredibly easy. Now, something that I have always struggled with when it comes to my laser machine and cutting and creating and crafting is that 3M double-sided adhesive tape that you see me pulling off there. I could never seem to achieve a nice cut in my acrylic with that tape on the back where I didn't get any charring or burning on the back of the actual tape itself. So you can see here that this has got minimal charring on the edges of the actual timber, and I have no more charring in my acrylic when it comes to the 3M adhesive tape. So that is a really massive standout point to me. Now, that is pretty much all I'm going to be going over with the XRF Onelaser machine for today, but I do post regularly on TikTok and Instagram. So if you want to see all of the cool things that I get up to create and craft with this machine, definitely check them out in my description box down below. And if you are interested in having a look at all the specs of the laser machine, the description below also has the link directly to their website with a little referral in there from me as well, which helps me out a lot. So that'll be it for now, guys. So make sure you stay tuned because, again, I will be doing more videos, more in-depth details, and I will definitely come out with the exact settings that I have figured out for all my crafting and creating that I do here on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out the Onelaser team on Instagram, TikTok, and they have a Facebook group chat as well. So if you have any fire-burning questions, please make sure you do ask away in there because everyone and every question is welcome around here. Bye, guys.